Before you assemble your unit, you need to measure the floor to the ceiling height. You need a minimum ceiling height of 2 meters 200, as it says here. The ceiling height is required for when you stand your unit up, because when you stand it from here, when you've assembled it up like this, the top corner could catch on the ceiling if the ceiling is lower than 2 meters 200. I'm going to show you how to assemble a corner wardrobe in the Modular range. In your double wardrobe shelf pack, you will receive an assembly guide. It says, please ignore this guide if you have purchased a corner wardrobe conversion kit. So I won't need this one. I'll be working purely from the corner conversion kit assembly guide. With this unit, it is very important that you read the assembly guide as you're going, because if you don't, you could get the panels in the wrong order. To assemble this unit, you'll be using panels from all 4 boxes. It is always advisable to assemble your unit on a piece of cardboard. This protects the side panel and the front edge of the unit when you're moving it around. Following my guide, I'm going to be putting the fittings to my right hand end panel that comes out of my standard wardrobe pack. Starting at the top, I put my metal dowels in. When you tap your wooden dowels in, you can push them in by hand, but occasionally you'll need to use a hammer. When you tap it until the sound changes, like that. That way you know the dowel is in far enough. If you hit it too much, you could punch the panel through. Now I've fitted my metal dowels and wooden dowels, I'm going to be putting the shelf support parts in, and they go 3 holes from here. 1, 2, 3. They go at this point here. Put 2 of those in. The hinges for your corner wardrobe look like this, and the hinges for your double wardrobe look like this. So fitting the hinge plates with the arrow pointing towards the outside edge, and that's the edge away from your groove, so this side. I'm going to be fitting them there. Working my way up, I'm going to be fitting them there. Following the assembly guides. Keeping going up. There. And the last one is fitted there. This is the arrow I'm referring to. This arrow is always to the outside of your unit. Just screw these in. Before I complete this panel and move it to one side and start on another one, the last thing to do is to fit the hanging bracket for your hanging rail. There's my hanging bracket. 2 types of screw that come with it, a Euro screw and a standard screw. So using the Euro screw, and I put my hanging bracket here. I then use my standard screw in the bottom unused hole. Now that panel's completed, and I'm just going to move it off the one underneath. Next job is to put the cams into my top, base and back rail. The cams themselves have an arrow telling you which way they should be put in. This arrow should always point to the outside or raw chipboard edge of your panel. Laying my panel down, I then insert the cams. And if when you put your cam in, you don't line it up correctly, you can always turn it once it's in the hole, making sure then that the arrow is pointing down. And put it into here, engaging it on the cams and down. As I'm going, I tighten up the cams. This locks the 2 panels together. I then repeat that for the top panel and the back rail. This. And the last one is the back rail. And tighten this one up as well. Taking my plinth securing bolt, I gently tap it into the hole in my plinth like this, and then using a screwdriver I screw the two parts together. Makes a very secure join between your base panel and your plinth. My assembly guide says to use panel 9. Well, panel 9 comes from your corner conversion pack. And then again, following the assembly guide, I put my metal dowels into the panel where required. At this stage, I'm going to fit my shelf supports as well, and they go into here and here, and also the wooden dowels. At this point, you will probably require assistance to put the end panel onto your wardrobe, like so. And then using the screwdriver, tighten the cams. Now I'm going to move my second end panel out the way, and then I'm going to turn my wardrobe onto its front so I can fit the back panel. I'm now going to fit my back panel. To do this, I'm going to require assistance to make sure that it stays in the groove as I'm sliding it into the unit. And sliding it up like this. You can use your back panel to make sure your cabinet is square. And to do this, you tack it at one point, and then making sure that the line follows right along the bottom here. And I need to tap my unit up slightly. And then I have the same distance from here to here, and that's squared my unit up. Before I stand my unit up, the last job is to put the panel protectors in the bottom. Now, ABS is very tough and durable. If you're putting things into your wardrobe like a suitcase and you catch the edge, you won't damage it. Okay, so we push these in like this. You can push them in using your thumb, but if you can't, just tap them in very gently using a hammer, like this. And then repeat for the other side. And then taking my shelf and keeping the edging stripped to the front, I put it into my wardrobe. Tap it down, like so. Following my assembly guide, I'm now going to build the corner conversion. The corner conversion only comes off of this side. I'm going to work my way through, putting the fittings on as described here. There. And there. And then using the small shelf supports, I'm going to fit those in this hole, this hole, this hole, and this hole. I'm also going to fit my hinge plates at this stage, remembering to keep the arrow to the outside edge. Here, here, and here. I'm now going to put that panel to one side and work on the other panels in the corner conversion pack. I'm now going to be putting the fittings to the top and bottom of my corner conversion. Using the shelf supports that have a locking mechanism inside them, like that. Making sure that the arrow points to the outside edge, corresponding with this hole here. These metal plates get screwed here using the pre-marked holes. So I need 2 for this panel. If you're worried about over tightening the screws in chipboard, you can use the cordless drill to put the screws in and then finish them off using a normal screwdriver if that's what you'd like to do. That's those 2 panels completed. I'm now going to put those aside and work on the last tall panel. This last panel has pear wood on both sides, and it matches the panel that we've installed here, which also has pear wood on both sides. To finish this item off, I'll be using these metal plates and the screws that go with them, the lockable cams, and the shelf supports. The last thing to do before we start assembling these panels is to put the plinth block in here and to put the wooden dowels in the end like that. First thing to do is to build these parts up laying on the floor. Now I'm going to fit the panels together, and to do that I need to turn this one round, making sure I don't catch the ceiling. And it actually goes onto the panel like this. Tightening the locking cams like so, and repeat for the other 3. You'll know you've got your panel round the right way because the metal plates are to the inside of the unit. I fit my base panel, and before that I put my wooden dowel in here like so, and then joining the 2 parts together like so. Tighten the cams, and this one as well. Fit the plinth and tighten it into the hole. Working my way up to the top of the unit, again putting my wooden dowel into here, like so, and then join the 2 parts together. At this stage you may require assistance to stand the panels up and join them to your wardrobe. In sliding the 2 parts together like this, making sure it's tight at the bottom and tight at the top, moving it back until the metal plates touch the other side panel, and then using the screws provided, fix the 2 parts of your wardrobe together. And then working my way up the wardrobe, pushing it with my left hand, I'm making sure that it's nice and tight. If you put the screw in just here to the outside edge of the plate, because of that angle, it will always pull the unit in tight, like this. The metal plates are on the inside of your wardrobe. This means that you can assemble the wardrobe as close to the wall as possible. The corner wardrobe I've assembled here has an oak finish here and an oak finish here. The interior of the wardrobe is pear wood. Inside your corner wardrobe there is a shelf unit that goes to the inside just here. I put my metal cams in the top here. Don't forget to make sure that the arrow matches up with the hole in the end of the panel. Metal dowels, I screw them into the holes here. Taking the shelves, I put the cams in. So that's my shelves completed, that's my end panels completed. The last panel to do is the top panel, and again it comes with the ABS edging on the front edge. So I'll put it there, and using the wooden dowels go in this hole. On your top panel, there are 2 pre-marked holes here, and these are for the last metal plate. Like so. Now, I'm going to put my shelves in here, making sure that the edging strip goes to the edging strip. One. Tighten the cam up. And the last one goes on the bottom. And taking my second side panel, I lift that up and fixing it on. Tighten the cams. I now stand this unit up and I put my top panel on here. Again, the edging strip goes to the edging strip here. So putting it on like this, knock it down, tighten the cams up. Okay, so I can now lift this into my wardrobe, and I do that like this. This metal bracket, this metal plate goes to the underside of this shelf. and then using the screws provided, fix the two shelves together. And this one. Using the screws provided and the holes that have been pre-drilled, you fix the shelf unit to your wardrobe side. I'm now going to fit one of the panel protectors to my shelf 410mm from the back panel to act as a door buffer. Put a line, just tap it into the centre of the panel. So before I hang my doors, I'm now going to put the hanging rail in, and to complete that I put the last hanging bracket on this side here and then put the rail in. I've positioned the hanging rail at the recommended height. If you don't wish it to be there, you can actually put it into the holes up here and move your hanging rail up. That you will use for your corner wardrobe, and it is fitted to the hinge plate like this. Using the two hooks, they go under the front edge corresponding with the arrow, and you push it back and it locks into position. To release it, you just push the button on the end and the hinge comes off. I'll just fit this last hinge to the door, and then using the screws provided, like that. So we take the first door, fitting the top hinge first. I support the door on my foot and clipping it underneath, push it back, click. Do the same for the other hinges as I'm working my way down. Shut the door. So again, starting from the top, supporting the door on my foot, click. You only fit one handle to these doors, and that handle will go on this door here, and that enables you to open the door using the handle, and you open the second door by putting your hand inside like this. To adjust this hinge in or out, you use this screw here, and when you turn it anti-clockwise, you loosen the screw off, and then you can slide it forward and back. Once you're happy where the positioning is, just retighten that screw. If you wish to move the door up or down, you loosen these two screws off here on all four hinge plates, and you can move the hinge up or down, and then retighten those screws back up. To move the door left or right, you actually have to close the door up until you can get a screwdriver in here like that, and then when you turn it clockwise, it moves the door towards you. Anti-clockwise moves the door back, and that's how you adjust the hinges. When you have more than one unit, you should join them together, and when using this type of joining bolt, you drill a 5mm hole through the two end panels and then screw in the two parts together, and that pulls the unit nice and tight.